Today, I'm going to be giving you some tips to get you one-wheeling like a pro in no time. Let's go. Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Matt and I want to congratulate you on getting your new one wheel. Welcome to the family. Quick announcement before I get started. The awesome guys over at Craft and Ride are helping me give away one set of Sidekicks and one float plate to a lucky viewer. Stay tuned to the end of the video for details on how to win. Alright, let's get to it. This video is meant to be a quick start guide for new riders who want to get out there and start riding right away. If any of you guys want me to make a more in-depth video on any of the topics that I cover today, make sure you drop a comment down below and let me know. Quick pro tip. If you're worried about keeping your one wheel nice and shiny and pretty, you're going to want to install Sidekicks and float plates before your first ride, because I guarantee after 5 seconds during your first ride, the side rails are going to get scratched up and your bumpers are going to get scratched up. So do it. Alright, make sure that one wheel is charged up, give that manual a quick read through, grab your gear, and let's go. I know it's really tempting to get started on grass, but trust me guys, the uneven surface and the high rolling resistance make it super hard to get started. Instead, find a place like this. Try to find a nice, smooth concrete or asphalt area that is wide open and not too hilly for your first ride. And be sure to power on your one wheel on a nice flat surface or it's gonna throw an error. If you're on an XR, you can test if the board started up correctly by giving it a little push. If there's resistance, then you're good to go. If the board rolls away, then you know that something went wrong and you need to restart your board. If you're on a Pint, it's a little easier. You can simply look down at the LED bar, and if it's glowing white, then you're good to go. All right, before we get started with the fun stuff, there's something that I need to tell you. And if there's one thing that you take away from this video, I want it to be this. Please, if you're going to bail, jump off the board with 2 feet. Got it? 2 feet. I preach this to every single person that I teach the one wheel, and everybody's like, yeah, bro, I got it, 2 feet, 2 feet. And 2 seconds later, it never fails. 50% of people don't listen, jump off with 1 foot, and Splitsville. Now, to understand why this is so important, let me give you a little background on how the one wheel works. You see, one wheels only have sensors under the front foot pad. So if you only remove the back foot, the one wheel doesn't know about it. It doesn't know that you only lifted the back foot. And on top of that, when you remove the back foot, your front foot will automatically apply pressure to the board, making it move forward. So, back foot planted solidly on the ground, front foot on the one wheel with a 750 watt motor pulling you forward, guess what? You're gonna do the splits and it's gonna hurt. All right, let's talk about stance and foot placement. I found my foot placement simply by trial and error, but in hindsight, watching a lot of videos, I've noticed that a lot of other riders use a very similar stance to me, so I think that it's probably a good place to start. What I do is I place my rear foot perpendicular to the rear pad with my toes hanging slightly off the board. I place my front foot at a 45-ish degree angle with my heel hanging slightly off the board. I find that this gives me the best control when I'm carving, and it just feels super comfortable, allows me to ride for a really long time. Also, I think with your front foot angle, they might give you a slight bit better chance of being able to run it out if you nosedive or you need to bail. Now remember, I wear a size 12 shoe, so if you try this stance, you may have more or less toe or heel hanging off the board depending on your shoe size. And remember, stance and foot placement is a completely personal thing and subjective. Feel free to start off with my stance, but please try something else, play around with your foot placement and see what's comfortable and works for you. All right, let's quickly talk about modes. When you're first starting out, if you're on an XR, I suggest starting in Mission, and if you're on a Pint, I suggest starting in Pacific mode. I think those modes give a good balance of responsiveness and control. Once you get a little more advanced and you have some miles under your belt, please switch the XR over to Delirium and the Pint over to Skyline. I think the extra responsiveness Really helps once you're more experienced. All right, finally, let's get to riding. Start off by bringing the board slowly up to level, the key word being slowly. If you do it too hard or too fast, you risk having one of those really embarrassing 0-mile-per-hour nosedives. After you've brought the board to level, wait for the motor to kick on. You'll hear it, and don't let the initial jolt scare you. Just relax and let the board do the work for you. Most of the people that I see having trouble when they first get on the board and they're wobbling, it's because they're fighting the board and they don't trust the board to keep them balanced. So they're trying to balance themselves and they end up getting all wobbly, and it's not good. So trust the board that it's gonna keep you up. Relax, keep your ankles loose, because the ankles are really gonna help with the toe-heel balance. So stay relaxed, trust that the board's gonna keep you up. Once you're up and balancing, try to throw in a little movement. Just like a bicycle, it's easier to stay balanced once you're moving. The slower you're going on the one wheel, the harder it is to balance. So once you're up and you got a feel for it, try to get going forward. To move forward, you need to apply pressure to your front foot pad, but try to avoid your natural tendency to lean with your whole body and your shoulders. That will lead to nosedives and all kinds of other problems. So what you want to try to do is you want to try to shift your weight with your hips, keeping your center of gravity balanced over the wheel. Shifting your weight with your hips can be extremely hard if you're super stiff like a board. So again, relax, and it's going to allow for a much more natural movement on the one wheel. Once you get going and you're a little more comfortable, remember, always respect the one wheel. Don't go too fast, too soon. I love you guys. I don't want you guys to get hurt. The one wheel was not designed to be a super speed machine, right? It was designed to enjoy the ride, to enjoy that feeling that you're surfing or snowboarding on powder on dry land. So remember that. Don't try to break any land speed records on your one wheel, because it'll end badly. As you're first getting started, I recommend staying under 10 to 12 miles per hour. You know, just till you have some more miles under your belt, you know how to recognize that pushback, especially when you're going up or downhill. All right, I could probably make a whole video dedicated to carving, and maybe I will, but today I just want to give you the basics to get you started. The basic thing you need to know about carving is that it's about weight transfer. You need to make sure you're transferring your weight from that heel to toe side and back and forth. Now, I find that when I'm trying to carve tighter, I use more of my back foot to control the board. I really push out with my heel on the heel side turns, and I push in with my toes on the toe side turns. When I'm trying to do more wider sweeping carves, I use my front foot more to control the board and my shoulders. You know, it's really hard to explain, but that's the basics. You're gonna have to get out there and get a feel for the board. If you're a snowboarder or a surfer, it's gonna feel pretty natural. I find that it's very similar to snowboarding on powder. And again, like everything we've talked about so far, make sure that you stay relaxed. It's really hard to do anything on the one wheel if you're super stiff and scared. So relax, keep a little bend in your legs. It's gonna help a lot with your carving. Okay, now that you have the basics of riding down, let's talk about dismounting. I find that dismounting is the hardest thing for new riders to do gracefully. If you're on a Pint, you're in luck because you have the ability to use Simple Stop. Simple Stop is a great feature for beginners, and I highly recommend keeping it enabled if you're just learning. Actually, even if you're advanced, but you never plan to ride switch or fakie, you could just leave it on as an advanced user and have another way to stop. All right, to use Simple Stop, simply come to a stop and slowly start rolling backwards. Be sure to keep your center of gravity over the wheel. If you start leaning back with your shoulders, there's a good chance that you're gonna stumble off the back of the board when the motor disengages, and you're gonna look like a total noob. That's all there is to it. It'll feel a little awkward at first, especially if you're not used to riding switch, because it will roll back a little bit, but keep at it. I know you'll get it. Quick tip. Because Simple Stop requires some amount of rearward motion before it stops, you will scrape up your stock bumpers if you don't have float plates installed. So if you want to keep your stock bumpers looking nice and fresh, be sure to pick up some float plates. All right, now let's move on to the heel lift method for you XR owners and for you Pint owners who have disabled simple stop. Onewheels have two sensors underneath the front foot pad, a toe side sensor and a heel side sensor. You have to disengage at least one of those sensors and be going less than 1 mile per hour for the motor to disengage. Start off by keeping your rear leg pretty straight and imagine driving your heel into the board. Then lift your front heel, not by going on your tippy toes, but by pushing your front knee forward. If you feel a lot of muscle contraction in your front calf, then you're probably going on your tippy toes. Now, the purpose of doing it like this is because if you go on your tippy toes, there's a lot more tendency to shift your weight to the toe side of your board, and there's a good chance that it's gonna tip over and you're gonna have to jump off. There's less of a likelihood of this happening on the XR because the wider tire is a lot more stable. So on the XR, you can be a little more sloppy about it. It's a little more forgiving than the Pint. But I think it's still a good tip for either rider, XR or Pint. Drive that heel down, keep your rear leg pretty straight, and your front leg push forward with your knee. Forward, not on your tippy toes, and that'll help you stabilize. Again, keep your weight centered over the wheel. If you're having trouble with the board not disengaging, it's most likely because you have too much movement. Remember, you have to have at least one of the foot pad sensors disengaged, and you have to be going less than 1 mile per hour. So if you're having trouble with the board disengaging, in my experience, it's because you just have too much movement and you have to try to come to a complete stop. Now, there's a good reason why the Onewheel operates like this. You can imagine if you're going along at 15 or 20 miles per hour and you accidentally lift your heel or toe, you don't want the board shutting off on you, right? So Onewheel wrote the algorithm such that you have to be going less than a certain speed in order for the motor to disengage if one of the foot pad sensors has been disengaged as well.
Well, there you have it. I hope this video helps some of you new riders get started. If you're having trouble at the beginning, don't worry about it. People learn at all different paces. Just keep at it. Don't get discouraged. I know you'll get it. Remember that giveaway I talked about? Oh man, I'm so excited. Craft and Ride, you are so awesome. One lucky viewer is going to win a set of Sidekicks and a float plate for either their XR or Pint. Now to enter is super easy. Just go to my Instagram page, find the post about the giveaway, and drop a comment. Now remember, to win, you have to be subscribed to my YouTube channel and you have to be following me and Craft and Ride on Instagram. On November 6th, I'll randomly pick the winner and I'll make the announcement on Instagram. I'm so excited. This is gonna be so awesome for one of you guys. If you liked today's video, please like and subscribe. Turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. I want to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you for watching my videos. I truly appreciate it. My name is Matt, and I'll see you guys next time.